They choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
What up? What up? Good morning, Syndicate. Hope all is good. I got my buddy Danny Klein on today. This dude's a killer sales guy, sales coach in the Elliott group with Andy Elliott, who we had on a couple months ago. Most of y'all know, out in Arizona. Funny enough, this dude runs a weekly show called Tactical Thursdays, also for their sales crew. And cool story: delivery driver to sales beast.
Good morning, man. It's a absolute pleasure to be on here. I'm excited to just pour some value into the group, into the team. The insurance business is one of the best businesses in the world right now. If you're looking to, number one, just create a life from yourself, just like I'm on a laptop from home. You're able to kind of go wherever, as long as you're willing to stick to the routine, stick to the activity, stick to the right training, the right mindset. You can pretty much achieve whatever. So, man, I'm excited to be on here. Obviously, rocking with Andy Elliott, my guy, my entire team. So excited to be on here and drop some value.
My dude, I appreciate it, brother. And as usual, y'all have questions along the way. Happy to put them up live so he can answer your stuff and not just mine. I will definitely just keep asking questions because I love learning about people's journeys, dude. So I'll let you kind of give a little background, man. I always like to give people perspective. You know, we're all just people who wanted to achieve something one day and kept at it. And I know a little bit about your story, but would love to figure out how you went from, delivery driver to who you are today. And I know you're still developing and have big goals and you ain't nowhere near where you want to be, but let's give them a little insight, dude.
Yeah. So for everybody watching, my name is Danny Klein. I'm 24 years old now. And, going back to, I'll start kind of back in my upbringing. I had divorced parents, typical middle class on the mom's side because they had gotten divorced. Dad's side, very unhealthy, tons of love, tons of support. Mom was more on the financial side, but never really actually there. So I got to see both sides of the coin, what it looked like to have a supportive family with no money, and then not really so much of a supportive family without the money, the traditional kind of way of thinking. And was going to go to college. I actually ended up going to college and dropped out about 6 months in. Really just wasn't for me. I found myself skipping class to go watch YouTube videos on Gary Vee and just guys like Andy Elliott. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to go and make more money, to have this freedom. And I had this ultimatum that I sat down one day when I was in school, and I drew this line in the sand. And I was like, well, if I'm not going to be happy with the top of the top in college, meaning let's say hypothetically I go to school for 4 years, I get my degree, and I make 150 grand a year. Yeah. And in my mind, my immediate response was, hell, absolutely not. That's not going to fulfill me clocking in, clocking out, making the 6-figure mark that America stamps to be successful. Yeah. And that next week, I literally called my parents. I said, I'm done. I'm coming home. I'm just out. I can't do this. Came home for about a good 6 months. I really kind of lost myself trying to kind of figure this out. I thought I was going to just go and get this pipe dream and go and kill it. And got lazy, reverted back to my high school self. We call it my old life. And long story short, I'm working out one day in the gym. I was delivering Chinese food at this point for about a year, just kind of working BS jobs. And I'm working out in Gold's Gym, and I see my buddy, and I used to wrestle, find him from high school. And he's like, "Yo, what's up, man? How you been? Da da da." He said he was selling cars. I'm like, "How's it been? What's up?" He's like, "Ah, man, I'm doing pretty good." I'm like, "What's that mean?" I'm over here like, pretty good, $3,000, like you can afford to live, and because I'm living in my parents' house. He said, "Well, I made $15,000 last month," and I was his captain. I was his captain on the wrestling team, and he was on JV, and I coached this kid. Immediately, I was like, "Fuck, man!" There's this feeling again of just feeling like a failure, and I said, "Dude, if you can get me a job, I'll quit whatever I'm doing. I'll restart everything right now. I'll come and sell cars." So that's exactly what happened. Got into the car business, and this is kind of where the training comes into play because I didn't really kill it again like I thought I was going to. A lot of people, we have this ego or this entitlement about us that we think that we can kind of figure it out all on our own, and we don't need any outside resources. I get my ass kicked. 6 months in, I find Andy Elliott. I see a YouTube video, helps me make my first $1,500 commission. I'm like, dude, this is it. It's like I could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel on what I could make and what I could do, because I'm watching all these guys run around with Ferragamos, belts. Our vice president had a Lambo, and I'm driving a $2,000 Lexus ES300 with like just absolutely beat. So long story short, I fly out to come train with them. I've been training with them for about 6 months. My dad passes away. He drowns in a pool, always had bad health conditions. We figured something at some point may happen, but it happened out of nowhere with a situation that we just weren't expecting. Next day, and he calls me. I'm talking with him and stuff. He said, "I want you to come work with me." I'm in Virginia at this point on the East Coast. I'm like, "Dude, I'm in. I make a phone call 30 days later after everything kind of finalizes with funeral, celebration of life. We fly out and start the journey, kick off the entire Elliott group in Phoenix. And we were in Oklahoma at this point for about a year. So March 1st, what was it, 2021? Yeah, kicked off the official journey with the Elliott group.
No kidding, dude.
People smash it, teach people how to go and get their best life, not only in sales, but physically, mentally, financially, just in every area of life. But, just absolutely full 360, man. I went from delivering Chinese food to almost clearing my first 7 figures last year with the Elliott Group, going back to nothing when I was making $20,000 a month in the car business. I'd kind of gotten up to speed, went back to nothing to help Andy build because I saw the vision and I knew that we were going to do something big if we could all do it together.
So you're in the car business for a hot minute, not making any money at the beginning.
Yeah. I walked in and I'm like, dude, I'm going to smash it. But for about 6 months, I think I didn't clear more than $3 or $4 grand. And then I had gotten a $200 commission check. I barely cleared my draw. And I was like, something has to change. So I Googled or YouTube how to sell cars.
And Andy popped up.
Andy Elliott popped up, baby.
And you never heard of the dude, right?
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
So that dealership didn't use him at the time?
No. A lot of dealers weren't up. I only think that he probably only had barely double digits on dealers.
No kidding.
He was pretty much using his website of courses and his in-person training and Zooms to train at that point about a little over 3 years ago.
Dang. And now y'all got how many? I heard the number. It's obscene.
We got a couple thousand. We got a good chunk. To the point where once you get into a good chunk of numbers, because we have different businesses, we built out custom white label platforms for companies where basically, they have insurance or solar, and they're like, "Hey, we can't use your car sales training. We want Andy to train us," and we would go in there and help them kind of build it out custom for them.
So what clicked, dude, watching the training make you go from just an average Joe car sales guy to actually, what'd you say? Where were you making? Would you say like 20 G's selling cars?
Yeah, I was averaging about 20 grand a month. I think one of my best months was like close to 30 grand.
What'd you change? Or what'd you learn? Or what?
Well, there was 2 things. So when I first watched one of the YouTube videos, there wasn't much negotiation training in car sales other than just going back and forth and really just talking about what they were going to afford, what they were going to do, and finding a good price. And other than just being a good person and just saying like, "Hey, I'm going to go to bat for you, like whatever I can do," kind of like a good order taker, if you may be. but I watched a YouTube video and it showed me how to justify the payment on their trade-in versus their new car, what it would cost them for the expenses on warranty if an accident were to happen, the gas mileage on the new car versus the old car. And I bumped these people, and it was like $100 more on payment, which in the dealership, it's like, dude, like you're a legend. And that pays, like, that's an extra $5,000 on a loan. And the customer's happy. It makes sense. It's a very logical close, because if they're out of warranty and something does happen, it hypothetically would cost this much. Yep. But that
some strategy.
Yeah, that first $1,500 commission really opened my mind. Yeah. Then I booked one of my first seminars to come out with Andy. And this is where a lot of people are like, well, what was the training that you learned? Because there was a month, and it's funny, I'll see if I can pull it up and I'll text it to you. There was the first month I went out to a seminar. It was on the 9th. I had 2 cars sold. I had 2. Yep. I flew out on the 9th to Oklahoma to one of his first Master Closer seminars. 2-day event, Saturday, Sunday. I come back on Monday, ended up finishing out the month with 23 cars. So I sold either like 1 to 3 cars almost every single day for the back half of that month. And everyone was like, what the fuck happened? Yeah. And I was like, dude, I don't know. I think he allowed me to just believe he kind of like brainwashed me to allow me to believe who I wanted to become. I didn't have the skill set necessarily yet to back it up. I had a few things in my arsenal, but I think that's that belief in becoming that person, you know, not putting that pressure on yourself in a bad way, really connecting more with your people, more energy, have more fun. Just some of the basics of sales, you can learn very quickly if you just decide that, like, you know, it's like you tell a guy, hey, you got to make 100 phone calls every single day. You got to make 200 phone calls every single day. And it's like he's trying, but once he gets into that routine of hitting 100, it's like there's nothing less. There's nothing else acceptable. And it set a new standard for me. Once I saw how he ran as a salesperson, I'm like, bro, he's a savage. Like, and I'm one of those people where, like, I can't look at another man and be like, dude, that's so far out of my reach. Like, I just can't comprehend that. And at the time, he was just so much better than me that I was like, I got to catch up to this guy.
Yeah. That's crazy, dude. It's funny, like, when you learn that belief level, as you know now, it automatically changes the way you speak to people and interact. And that has a lot more to do with people buying than a lot of times the words you're saying 100%. Are useless if you don't believe in it.
1,000%. I always say belief before the checks. The belief comes before the paychecks.
Hell yeah.
If you want to go and make, we see a lot of salespeople, they have monetary goals, right? Yep. If I could just make $10,000 a month, if I could make $10,000 a month, they've set their goal to a financial target versus, again, like the activity or the actual game of learning to get better and doing better day in and day out, that daily routine or micro activity versus, you know, you're not going to go and make 10 grand unless you focus on the other backside, which is the belief inside of the, you know, backed up by the activity and the execution.
Yeah.
So.
We're super similar in that. I have this whole thought process that helped me, like, because I was a couple years in and I wasn't making much of shit either. And something clicked for me. And I told myself, I was like, what if I just do more now and get better later? And it became very activity based. And you have something similar where it's execution over perfection.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Talk about that, dude.
Yeah. So it took me a long time. I'm like perfectionist, man. Like, I want everything to look nice, to feel perfect. And it took me, I mean, it didn't take me as long as most people to figure out, but I finally realized that, like, dude, shit is it's absolutely never perfect. It's never even close to perfect, especially in business. But I would say execution over perfection. Yeah. You can execute enough on anything, you can get damn near to perfect. If I go through the objection in a word track or something to overcome enough times, if I read off the script, I'm going to memorize it, and it's going to be damn near to perfect to at least to what I have set out. And, you know, you just have to execute. You know, I like this. When I have new guys come in to train with the Elliott Group, we got the script, we got the light speed training system, we got everything they need. For the first week, though, you know what I do? Give them a paper list. You know why? Because if they can't execute before they try to make it perfect, there's this thing where people will try to make things perfect before they execute.
100%.
And I see people
100%, dude. It drives me insane, dude.
They're But the crazy thing is the majority of, I mean, dude, we still got, I see people, tons of people like in insurance and people that sell insurance around us all the time, like literally in our office. And I'm like, dude, how am I making more activity than you? And I'm not, you have to make more activity than me because I'm not in your space. It's a different space. Like you should be doing 5 times more than me, not even the same, because I'm on calls with warm leads. Like I got people that are reaching to me. It's like that don't really exist a whole lot in your space. Like you're going to have to go and do more. And it's one of those things where I think 90% of the sales industry, it's a really hard pill to swallow. And they get to a point where they either decide to just go and do more or they break and go back to something easier.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like then you end up doing more anyway because you're forced to. Because if you don't, you get fired. It's a really weird paradigm. I had this lady text me this weekend, and she was mad about who helped her mentor and blah blah. Yeah. And she's like, I just feel like I'm flying blind. I'm like, dude, you haven't even dialed the phone yet. And she goes, well, dialing's not the problem. I just don't know what I'm doing, and I feel like da da da. And I'm like. So I look it up. I'm like, you ain't been on a training call. You don't interact with the team. You don't. And a lot of people, it's like like you said, they're mad. They don't know how to do something, but they aren't putting in the work and the activity to learn how to do that something.
Yeah.
Dude, how do y'all deal with it at such scale? Because you deal with a lot of people. Obviously.
Yeah. I really, really try to hammer down like the layers to the onion, right? And our master culture seminars, we cover a lot of stuff, but for the first hour or two, we really, it's almost like life training. It's like, we're just telling people like, dude, you have to be able to want more before I can give you the techniques, the strategies. It's like, imagine if you're a construction worker and I'm like, hey, John, I'm going to give you your drill. I'm going to give you your saw. I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to teach you how to use it. But if you don't know and have the blueprint and see that this building is going to get built, and you can kind of envision what it's going to look like and how it's going to be, like, you're not going to be able to build it. You're not going to be able to use those tools, and I think a lot of times without that core belief, again, it's like, you ever seen a preacher at the church that just don't believe in the Bible anymore? He just going through, just reading it. But then there's another guy that don't even have the Bible. He remembers that he's telling stories. He may not be by the book for your typical church, but you'll see that most people enjoy that more because he is just being him, and he has the belief, he's got the energy, and you can tell that he's got his heart in the game. Versus the other guy has no heart, but he has all the right politically correct things that a church should have, but his church is empty.
I love it, dude.
Same reason why you're not making deals.
Yeah. How close are you over there to the insurance side that y'all got going on?
I'm really
mess with it at all.
I'm really close with Tyler. I'm not super involved. I'll run a training call every other month with Real Financial. Tyler's doing a really, really kick-ass job and stepped up a whole lot. But not super involved. I was and kind of wanted to be at one point, but we looked at everything, and with the team coming on and just all these new things, we figured it'd be better to just put my focus with that.
What do you see similarities in like the people that struggle or don't achieve with it? Like, how much do you see commonality with the car sales and everything you train on to what he's training on in the insurance? I know you're close enough to at least see some of that.
Yeah, no.
What do you see in commonalities, man?
It's all the same thing, and it's funny because everyone wants to be special, and they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm different. I'm in insurance. I'm different. I'm in car sales." And it's like I hear the same things. It's the same mental struggles. It's the same thing of not putting in the effort, not having the belief. Yeah. I see it. The similarities across the board. Like it's almost identical, other than like the process being a little bit different. The tone has to be a little more smooth, right? You're not gonna be on the car lot yelling at. Yeah. But in terms of like not hitting targets, not hitting things, and people, I've done this, right? So I've done a lot of calls, right, with Real Financial. Not a whole ton. I've probably done about maybe under 10, right, under double digits. And I'll go on there, and we got the script and the top 5 objections and some base things that we'll tell people on the beginner call. And I'll jump on there and I'll say, all right, let's just go through the script. This is the beginner's call, right? You got license, you got contract, you got everything that you need. Let's just go through your script. easy. I don't want to go into do anything crazy until we get the foundation.
Mhm.
And most people still can't go through the script as if they were to go to hit the phones.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you have to pull people and put people in that situation of pressure to realize, like, how do you not realize that you haven't done it? Just like I'm on a Zoom call and I'm looking at my face, I would record everything. I'd watch how I sound, how I speak, how I look, and how I handle these objections. Because if you can't move the sale forward, you're not going to be able to make deals. If you can't turn no's into yeses, you're not going to be making deals. The insurance space is an aggressive sale, not in terms of the way that you speak, but the amount of activity, the way that you have to push through. I mean, I personally, I've made insurance. It is probably one of the hardest, at least in the very, very beginning, sales industries to kind of have that breakthrough, because you're just getting crushed, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's heavy activity. It's a lack of belief in yourself. And to be honest, dude, most people that come into this, like you said, they don't put any time. I always go like, Maddox is 11. And they give him like Bible verses to study at school that are longer than our phone script. And he starts it on Monday and he's got it memorized by Friday and presents to his class. And we got grown ass adults who can't learn a script. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, I struggled with that. Building a team.
They can't be accountable for themselves, man. Yeah. It's like, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to have a business until it's time to do business shit, until it's time to be a real entrepreneur and look at yourself in the mirror and realize daddy's not checking in and clocking out. Yeah. There was a guy, I made a post out for a 4-week coaching program that I was going to do like 2 months ago. One person from Real Financial, he had heard kind of what I've helped Tyler do in the very beginning to, what I understood to kind of kickstart him. And he was trying to get the same kickstart. He reaches out. He's like, dude, I'm in. And the first thing I said is, I'm not going to teach you or tell you much that you don't know. I'm going to tell you most of the same things that you already know, but I'm going to show you how to implement, and I'm going to hold you accountable. Taught him the script, taught him the objections. I taught him some core foundation things, switched up a few things that he was saying. He doubled what he had done. He had been selling insurance for a year. I don't sell insurance. Never sold an insurance policy in my life. He had doubled just because I made him hammer the basics.
Yeah. How do you decide who to keep working with and who not based on like activity? Not like, how do you dictate who you bring on your team, who you cut off? Like, how do y'all deal with that?
Yeah. So our team was a little bit different, and, it requires a little bit more patience sometimes, because with us being coaches and salespeople, you do have to develop those relationships. You can go on and I can pound dealers and cold call people, and I can sell courses, one call close for, some of these products that we have are $100 or $300. Yeah. But then when you get into like some of the things that I'm doing now after being with Andy for almost 2 years, is people are calling Andy to book him for events. Yeah. I'm handling those things, or people are wanting to go and just do things that are a little bit more expensive, take a little bit more time. The sales process is a little bit different, but it doesn't come without building up that pipeline, staying consistent to kind of follow up with either the GMs of the store to get to the owners, or you get into the entrepreneur space and you have, that network of relationships. So it is a little bit different, but in the very, very beginning, I have to make sure that they are at least hitting a certain standard. Ours is 50 phone calls. We do have a lot of people that answer, and, we'll kind of coach and nurture a little bit more. So in the beginning, it's hard to tell, exactly, because there's times where I've nurtured a lot of people, meaning I'm giving them free training up front. I'm helping them make a paycheck to be able to help myself, because these people have either been called from us, or they see Andy, or they've been in a position, right? And if we got a good team, a lot of these people have bought or have already bought a lot, or maybe already have a certain coach, and we're not giving them our leads that we're running. Those are going to the top guys. Yeah. So we're patient with them, but yes, there is a time where you have to say, hey, dude, listen, I need you to at least see that I'm getting the effort on this activity, on your calls, on your texts, on your DMs, on all of these KPIs, or it's just not going to work. You're not going to be able to make a paycheck. And I'm personally not okay having someone on my team that's not making a paycheck, and you'd be better off making money elsewhere. And we don't fire anybody, but you're going to, it's difficult to make money, in our environment if you're not going to stick to it.
Yeah. The biggest thing that stood out is you just said you're not okay with someone on your team not making money.
Dude, I'm not okay with it, dude.
I love that, dude.
I'm a fan of Andrew Tate. And Andrew Tate comes to mind, but he's like, I want to be around like killers. Like I want to feel the energy. And we're big on our environment. So when we bring on new people, if I can at least see that this motherfucker is on fire mentally and is putting in the effort, if he's on fire and not getting results, I'm cool. He's gonna break through.
Yeah.
But if I see mopey Bob over here, day over day, month over month, in our amazing environment with no threatens to let him go, with nothing, but he still is not getting that belief and that energy, that fire, I'm going to say, dude, listen, I need you to get paid. I want you. I can't drive into town with you and I got my Corvette and you have your $1,000 beater. I need to get you a Corvette as well. Me and you get paid the same, right? Like we can both do it. So I want to see people win, man. You know,
that's the key to building, man. A lot of folks that struggle building in this space, they're so focused on the results it gets themselves versus taking that time and really helping other people change their situation. So it's cool that stood out. Dude, y'all's office, I talked about this with Andy on. I ain't never seen nothing like that, dude. The energy, the excitement, dude, it's bananas.
It's a crazy environment. We see a lot of people like, you know, I'm somewhat like analytical. I can flip and, you know, nonetheless, it can be distracting because ringing a cowbell, every deal that gets closed, our team will go up and ring a cowbell. Yeah. But once you adopt it, like, you know, you get the celebration, that energy that you contribute to the team, you're lifting people up, you put that back into your calls and you realize that, like, man, I haven't sold anything all day long, but I can go and look at the board and I can hear the bell all day long. Man, it's still there. People are buying. People still love us. Just like, you know, you can get in your head very, very easily just with one phone call, you know?
I can't imagine that. Would you say like Sulky Bob? I forget what random name you gave. I can't imagine that person surviving. Mopey Bob. Yeah. I can't imagine Mopey Bob making it in your office very long, dude.
Yeah, it's and it's one of those things where it's like, dude, our top guys are going to be so busy, like just making deals, that we're willing to coach the guys that have questions and things. But if you have like, dude, if you don't have the right energy for us, and first we'll generally have a good telltale, like, you know, who's going to be able to make it, who's got the heart. We look for heart, right? But we'll have a good telltale pretty quickly, like, hey, dude, we're going to have to see your attitude come up being around us. Yeah. I can't look you in the eyes. And all of our team is like jacked up. We're smiling. We're just like happy to get the day going. And then there's one guy that's just like, damn, man, I'm just struggling. It's like, dude, we're all struggling. I've learned to just enjoy the fact that it sucks, because you start making progress in that suck zone.
Yeah. I love it. What's the biggest thing you've learned from Andy and or Jackie in the years there?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned, I always go back to these key themes. I talk about the word identity a lot. And I was talking about this yesterday on a coaching call. I gave my identity back a few times, meaning I would make progress and strive towards that person that I was trying to become, the person that I can envision. And I kept giving it back. I kept backsliding and going back to my old life, the old habits. You know, I call it like the ice cold beer, the good life, the Netflix and chill, like, you know, that life without pressure. I kept giving it back. I had a very tendency to just be lazy. I would just be lazy. You know, I was generally better than most, like above average, just walking in and showing up just because of how friendly or whatever it was, right? And I got used to living in that zone, but I wasn't playing to my potential, you know. But I would say probably one of the biggest things that I've learned is, you know, to always make sure that you're aware of your identity and you're always chasing that future self, and realize that, like, this is about the game. This isn't about, oh, I made my 30 grand check, I made my 20 grand check, you know, 50, whatever it is, right? It's about becoming that person, because the more that you can strive towards that, the money will catch up. You know, You have your identity, you have your skill, and you have obviously the money. And the money will always be the last thing to catch up. But without the identity, the skill to back it up, you'll never get the money. But most people try to hopscotch their way to the check, and maybe they get it once. And that's why I see a lot of guys give it back, and now they're mentally spun out because their identity, watch this, John. Let's say I sell, I write 20 policies in a month. The next month I write 6, right? Now, how I treat that 6, if I tattoo that 6 on my heart, my identity is I can sell 6 policies a month, not the fact that I sold 20.
Yeah.
Now, do I got to honor my results and know that, hey, I dropped the ball last month? Yeah. But am I going to sit there and tell myself, damn, man, I sold 6 last month, 6. And I'm reaffirming the fact that I didn't do that good. I would rather say, dude, I'm a 20. I can do 20 every month. I can do this every month. Whatever it was, I'm going to put myself back on that path and make sure that my identity is that of a top performer, of a millionaire, of a $10,000 a month earner. And then if you truly believe that enough, you'll back it up with the right training, with the right activity, attitude, etc.
Yeah. It's wild to see how many people that have success tend to have that mindset that you mentioned earlier, that when you were like, well, if Andy's just another dude who's out doing it, why can't I do it? Like, why not me?
Dude, I almost think sometimes, like, I think entitlement is not good, but I think a little bit of ego with the right reality, meaning like if I don't have ego, right, like just a little bit, right? Meaning if I'm a 20-year-old and I look at Andy and I'm like, dude, I can be like that guy. I have to have something that's outside of the norm to be like, dude, I can be like this guy. I can actually beat this guy. Can I right now? Absolutely not. No way. If I look at the NBA stats side by side, I would get absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those people where it's like I was a wrestler, and my whole life, for I think 8 or 9 years of wrestling, from like 5th grade all the way up and past high school, like I did not care if that dude was a 4-time state champion or anything. I was the kid who was known as like the comeback kid. My freshman year, I beat a senior in our conference finals, 18 years old, got beat by a 14-year-old. Wow. And it was like these certain things I had always kind of came back through that adversity. And it's like, dude, I didn't care. I couldn't look at another person. Everybody told me, oh, man, just go out there and try your best. I was 14 years old, John. They were like, dude, just go try your best. Go give it your all. Hey, whatever happens, we're proud of you. I'm like, get away from me. I'm going to kick this guy's ass.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get me to be okay with just – they're already –
prepping you to lose.
I'm going to lose. I'm like, get the fuck away from me. I'm going to crush this kid. And because I told myself that, I ended up beating him. Yeah. And it's the same thing in life. Like, you know, except it's not you versus someone else. It's just you versus you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think a lot of us can prep ourselves to lose before we go after a call or a client appointment or recruiting or whatever it is we're going after. A lot of people lead with the negative.
I think one of the hardest things, you know, when change really happens, where we see change happen, is when the pain overrides the fear of change. Yeah. People fear change more than they actually want the result, right? So if I decide that, dude, I'm tired of not making, you know, a livable income, or I'm tired of having to clock in and clock out. Well, you see people live in this gray area. I call it like the above average zone. It's probably the worst place to be. You're almost better off going back to McDonald's, selling all your shit, and realizing the major change is going to happen when you feel the pain. But people like to ride that zone, and better than most, so they can. It's this comfort zone, you know. And that's why you see a lot of underdogs. I know that Sean, Mike, and you guys talk about underdogs a lot. And it's like, dude, almost every single person that like you see that's landed like big integrity deals or fucking killers, like they were all underdogs or had something that was like that made them go and shift and change. And losing my father, being the youngest in my family, all these things, like I wasn't okay. That wasn't winning to me. It wasn't winning. Like, just wasn't happy with an above average life. I would rather be the dude that tried, gave it his all, got his fucking ass kicked, and was putting in the effort than the one that was like, oh, he was a good guy, you know, never really did anything, never attempted, never got out of his zone. I'd rather be the crazy guy.
Yeah. And I think even when you have success, man, you get your ass kicked along the way. You know, it's not like you go after it and it's like, oh, I'm success just because I think, like, you will get your ass kicked. Buckle up. It's coming.
I always tell, like, there's this box, right? Like, when you sign up for winning, I think winning is a person, right? Like, I've read the book Winning by Tim Grover. If you haven't read it, I'd recommend read Relentless, read Winning. Like, you need that mindset if you want to dominate in insurance or just in sales in general. But I think winning of like a box, right? You got that. You pull it out. There's a sick car. There's a Lamborghini in there. There's a nice hot chick. There's a great paycheck. There's the penthouse with the nice views. But the biggest, heaviest fucking thing to get out is getting your ass kicked and handed to you every single day. But most people will give that box up with all the other stuff. I could go on and on, all the cool stuff that you can get with it, but they'll never put in the effort to get strong enough to pick that rock up and know that was a thing that would make them rich. And all the other, it would be like a little piñata of all the other things falling out and coming with it. But they try to pick the Lambo, pick all this.
Yeah, buddy.
They realize that's why people give it back, because they didn't pick up that rock inside of the box of winning, of getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I always tell people, like, you're in the middle of, if you're not where you want to be, you're in the middle of developing your story.
Yeah.
And if you don't fight through that time where you get your face kicked in a little bit, you'll never have a story to tell. You know what I'm saying? Like you're developing that currently, more than likely.
People try to develop their and this is, you go on YouTube and you can watch all these things on business and all these things, and people will learn so much. They think they know how to do it, but they try to jump into a higher leverage opportunity right before they've actually built anything. Watch this. Guy gets in 3 months. He says, John, I want to build a team. What do you tell him? Dude, you got to sell first. You have to learn how to sell. Am I right? You got to sell,
dude. It's hard.
Yeah,
I need to build a team if you.
Otherwise,
I'll be building it for you.
I need you to recruit. Yes, you get as many people as possible.
Yep.
But like, if you don't get good at like at least hitting this level, this target, this consistency, like it bleeds into every area. The recruiting will be the same way, because recruiting is a numbers game as well. It's the same thing. You got to sell them. You got to close them. You have to make sure that you train them. You got to make sure that you nurture them, that you run Zooms. It's harder. It is harder.
And it's a worse numbers game. The numbers are worse.
Yes, it is worse. It is harder. But people are like, if I could just get to building the team, and they want to hopscotch their way again.
Yeah.
There's something that I want to make sure that I say on this call before we kind of wherever this goes. There's something I always teach and always talk about, and it's the three key factors, I think, to just winning daily in sales. And I think for insurance specifically is like just one of the golden nuggets. There's your activity, your attitude, and your skill set. If I have the right activity and the right attitude, but I don't have the right skill set, I'll never make it. If I have the right skill set and the right activity, but the wrong attitude, however I flip it, right? If I'm missing one of those three, I'll never be able to get it. It'll never click without the right activity. Let's say I got the right skill set and the right attitude. You see a lot of guys, they think they got the right skills and the right attitude, but they never will hit the numbers. And they got another guy that ain't even close to as good as them, but they're getting crushed, right? I remember Andrew Taylor's when he talked at closer school. I don't know are you going to closer school?
Nope.
But I remember last year at closer school. Because we had the Real Financial. It was tied in. It was actually the Real Financial in closer school. But I remember Andrew Taylor, and he is just one of those people where like he wasn't naturally talented like insanely, but he was fucking crazy. I'll never forget the video of him going in through the fence for an appointment. It ran with me forever. And there's always another level to my game. I probably I wouldn't do that. And once I see things where I'm like, probably wouldn't have done that. There's no way. I'm like, there's another guy crazier out there.
Dude, that fool's got so many stories of crazy things he's done and what it turns into from him. Dude, that was a little piece of the things he's done out there. Now, it was inspiring to me watching him coming up, because he was pretty good when I started in the business from a result standpoint. Yeah, but he'll share this. He's the 25% closer. He ain't the closer, dude. Yeah. But he's a crazy activity guy, and he doesn't let emotions sway him. He's always just super even keeled. And
I don't know what it is, but I always find these trends. The best salespeople, generally the most consistent, the best salespeople, they don't fit in. Like if you could imagine like a chart, there's like the most skilled, and then maybe the best attitude or best looking or whatever, but they're never perfect in every area. It's generally the people that are below average on the closing, naturally talented, but it always falls back on one outlier that you guys talk about consistently, which is just work ethic.
It's true.
always
100%.
always falls back on that work ethic, the belief, versus there's tons of guys that are a little bit more talented, but they get crushed by guys that are just willing to work hard because they're used to going through the flow and being better than most. They haven't, again, kind of like what I've talked about previously.
Yeah, I always share that on my end, dude. I'm definitely not the best sales guy or best recruiter. I'm not the best. I just outlasted all the top guys that couldn't handle it and quit.
Yeah.
I just kept at it, dude. So, hey, did you hear? I'm gonna bring you mentioned something earlier about NBA. I forget what your comment was exact. Did you see that video, that Giannis video today by chance?
I did it.
Where they asked him. Y'all got to check it out if you haven't. Someone on here's probably seen it, but the reporter asked him. I guess they were like the number. I don't follow sports super close.
Yeah,
but I think the gist I got was they were the top seed, and I'm assuming they played the bottom seed first round of playoffs, and they lost unexpectedly or whatever, according to the odds. And the dude asked him if this season was a failure. Dude, just Google it. It's like a trending video everywhere.
I can imagine.
And he lost it on the guy, and he was like, he said something along the lines of like, dude, do you get a promotion every year? I was like, no, why? He goes, well, does that make this year a failure? Or are you going year by year to try to accomplish something? And just because you don't accomplish it this year, that don't make it a failure. That just makes it part of the journey. And I'm not wording it as well as he did.
Yeah.
If you see him speak, he's a really good speaker and mindset guy. But if y'all haven't seen that, if I was smart enough, I'd have had it ready and share it on this, but I'll break the whole damn live if I do that. But if you haven't, just Google it. It's a super powerful message that he passes, that like, just because you fail today in some people's eyes, don't make it a fail. It's like the journey is super important in this thing.
It's like a lot of society will only see your daily and your micro failures and certain things. It's like if you don't show up for one day or 1 week, you have your off week, and everyone around you is like, hey, what's going on? Like, they assume that everything is horrible, but that's actually the thing that's going to make you actually have that breakthrough is those hard moments. And I would get pissed off too. One of my pet peeves is if I'm not doing, like, my performance isn't like at its peak, which like it happens every month. Like, you can't be at your peak every single day of whatever, but you can always make sure that you hit your certain targets. My pet peeve is when someone's like, hey, you okay? I'm like, bro, I'm good. I'm always okay.
Yeah.
And if people don't understand that, like, dude, there's days and weeks you go through these phases where like things suck. And it's like, those are the days where if you can I like those days more than some of my other like most successful days, because those are the moments where I had to really push through that area that just sucked, that suck zone and that just phase.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel good about myself when I do stuff I don't want to do, or like I worked out like a bum yesterday morning. I was traveling. I went to the hotel gym and I was there for like 17 minutes just so I could say I worked out. Dude, I felt like shit about myself the whole day. So I traveled home and I went back last night and I'm like, yo, that you punked out this morning. So I actually went to an Orange Theory class that kicked my ass, dude.
Oh yeah.
But when I was done, I was like, there you go. Now I just felt good about myself when I didn't really want to do it. And I'm like, put myself in check.
Those are the best things. If you can just always make sure that you're like, because you can say like, hey, I went to the gym today. Yeah, I got it in. Right. Just like you asked me, I'm like, dude, I didn't get it in. Am I going to get it in? Hell yeah. It's all good. And it's like, it's good. It's good to.
Well, it is early there. It is early. I'm not a 5 a.m. workout guy either.
No,
to be honest.
Dude,
I don't do that.
We got guys that get up, 4:30 or out in the gym. I like to kind of set the tone for my day, kind of organize my thoughts, my brain for the first like hour or two, then go hit the gym at usually my time, 6 to 7 is a good time for me, or at least 6:30 to 7:30. Because that way when I'm walking in at 7:30 my time, I'm rolling right into all my heavy hitting stuff that I got to get done that requires the most energy, the biggest task for the day, first thing.
I love it. So your call is when? Don't you have yours is soon? Like it's in a little while, ain't it?
So my call is in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. What do you give us a little preview, dude? Your tactical Thursdays. I usually have people end with something tactical that people can put in place.
Yeah.
So this is your specialty, dude. So wrap up whatever you want. If it's a preview of today, like what can you help them with?
Today's my freestyle day. Generally I'll go on, and once a month I'll just say like, hey, what do you guys want to cover? What do you want to go through? And I'll feel out where people are at, because a lot of times, I may be saying or teaching on something that most people are either good at, or maybe they need something else right now. But what I'll tell you, man, is, again, we talked about a lot of things: activity, attitude, skill set. If you guys are watching right now, I'd recommend writing that down, because every single night when you lay your head on that little pillow and you go to sleep, you go nighty night, realize, how was my day? You're reflecting on your day. What did I get done? What was my results? And if they weren't the results that you wanted, it can all go back to, did I make enough activity? Yes or no. Was my skill set on point? Yes or no. Again, kill the gray area. Don't say, oh, I did okay, I put in my best effort. Bro, be honest with yourself. And then attitude. You can be on the phones all day long, but if you don't have the right attitude, how many times you know the objections, or know that you could have pushed through, but you weren't in that right zone. You didn't have the right mentality. So I'll tell you guys, activity, attitude, skill set, and guys, the belief comes before the checks. And the last one, execution over perfection. Execute your way and train yourself to make the activity, to have a good mindset, to feel good every single day before you try to learn all the perfect techniques and strategies. And you'll find yourself on the other end having your blade already casted, and all it is sharpening it there from there forward. So
do more, baby. I love it. Hey, and don't be a mopey Bob.
Don't be mopey Bob. I just think it's crazy. And again, so everybody on this call, I would assume that almost everybody is in insurance, sells life insurance.
Yeah. Some type of insurance, not always life, but all types of insurance. Yes.
All types of insurance in general.
Yep.
It is one of the craziest opportunities to make a crap ton of money very fast. Some of the payouts are 24 to 72 hours later. It doesn't exist in any other sales industry. You can get paid out very fast. And then the ultimate dream is the integrity deal, right? Right? Everybody talk, oh, I want an integrity deal. Dude, if you just were grinding for 3, 5, 6 years, you can literally become more wealthy than like the 0.001% if you can learn to sell, learn to build, and just do a good job. Like, John, you're nothing special, but you saw the vision, you saw the build, you put in the work, you stuck to a lot of the same things that I'm telling you that are my themes. You just didn't have the special thing to name it. Yeah. And it's like, it's just insane what you can build. You can literally become a millionaire in 2 years. And I would just tell all you guys, if it sucks right now, good. If it's hard, good. Know that it's coming if you can make sure that you put in the right activity, right mindset, the right training. Do all the things that you know are good. Be honest with yourself. And you'll look up in a few years, you would have already altered your identity. You've become this person that's deserving of the money. Thereafter, it'll start to follow. It'll start to catch up. And never give it back. Yeah. Never give it back.
I love it, my dude. I appreciate the time, brother. I appreciate the insight. You got a ton of great comments on here. People love it, dude. So appreciate you taking time out of your day. Go kill it. And if I can help with anything on your end, dude, always let me know.
Hey, much love, guys. Thanks, man. Happy Tactical Thursdays. Let's get it.
Later, guys.